One of the coolest things that I've learned in my study of the Bible is that all of the commands given in the scriptures are given because we, by nature, will do the opposite. And so God's got to come alongside of us and say, don't do that, or you need to do this. And it's next section of 1 Peter. We're going to be in chapter 3, verses 8 through 12. Peter's going to give us a whole laundry list of things we need to do or think about or watch out for, because we need to be thinking about having a good conscience. We just got done with this section on submitting to one another, and he gave us these examples, much like Paul does in the book of Ephesians. And over the last couple of weeks, we looked at wives and their responsibilities. Last week, we thought about husbands and their responsibilities. And we need to be doing all these things in good conscience. And what are some practical tips that Peter here could give us as we strive to do well in being a good spouse, as we try to submit ourselves to one another? What are some practical ways to think about this? Because in the end, there's a grand blessing to be had as a result of maintaining a good conscience as you submit yourselves to one another. And remember, these are given to us because by nature we would do the opposite. Let's read verses 8 through 12. Finally, all of you be of one mind, having compassion for one another. Love as brothers. Be tender-hearted. Be courteous or humble, not returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you are called to this, that you may inherit a blessing. For he who would love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayers, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. How clean is your conscience as you try to submit yourselves to one another? How well are you doing to inherit the blessings of God by the conduct that you've allowed to happen in your life? What kind of tips and tricks can Peter give us so that we can have a clean conscience, so that we can run this race well, and we can walk worthy of the calling with which we were called? And that's a lot of different areas of life, I know that. But some of these tips, some of these tricks will go a long way to helping us achieve all of these goals. He says, finally, let us all be of one mind. You know, by nature, we're not going to be of one mind. Some of us are going to want the piano over there, and some of us are going to want the carpet a different color. And as we think about painting the walls, some of us are going to want white, and some of us are going to want off-white, and some of us are going to want gray. Some of us are going to want another color entirely. Some of us want to do this, and some of us want to do that. Some of us want to spend this money, and some of us want to save it. We all need to be of one mind. We all need to learn to get along. We need to have compassion for one another. We need to love as brothers. Be tender-hearted and be humble. Don't think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. You might think that the white is the great color, and somebody else might think gray is a great color. But it's okay to let somebody else have their way once in a while. It really is okay. You don't have to have your way all the time. Not returning evil for evil. How many times have you wanted to get revenge or to get payback, get vengeance? Well, we do. Reviling for reviling. But on the contrary, blessing. Knowing that you were called to this, that you may inherit a blessing. If you're able to do these things here, if you're able to take to heart these warnings and these suggestions here that Peter's giving to us, you might just have a blessing in your life, and you just might be a blessing to somebody else. And you can do this in good conscience. You really can. And then he gives us these verses 10 through 13. I want you to spend your day thinking about these verses. Refrain from evil. Do well. Seek peace. Pursue it. Who's the Lord got his eyes on? Is it you? Do these things and do well.